Hello, welcome to the video lesson or video notes for lesson 4.1. This is the first lesson for Unit 4 linear functions. And this lesson begins on page 1 in your binder, and it's about rate of change and slope, part 1. So obviously there are multiple parts to this. The target for this: I can find rates of change from tables and graphs. So we're going to be talking a lot about rates of change and what they mean and how you find them in the first part of this unit. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the example questions. The first one, the diagram at the right shows the side view of a ski lift. So we have a ski lift here. And you'll notice that they labeled certain points on the lift. We have our X and Y axis are labeled, horizontal position, vertical position. Question 1, what is the vertical change from A to B, from B to C, and C to D? Now I noticed that I didn't do a good job covering up some of these answers that were originally on this problem. But that's okay. We're going to still go ahead and work through this because they're not labeled correctly anyway. So we're talking about, for the first one, the vertical change. Remember, vertical is going up and down. So down here in the bottom where we have some room to do some work. Question 1, we're finding, now I'm going to use a symbol. It looks like a triangle. Let me start over here. It looks like a triangle. It's actually the Greek letter D, or delta, and what it means is change. So the vertical change from A to B is from here to here. We want to know how much this is increasing, or how much it's going up. From A to B, it's going from 40 to in between 40 and 60, which is 50. So the vertical change from A to B is 10. Now this is all for question 1. From B to C, so it's going quite a big change here. From 50 all the way up to 90, so that's 40 feet. And then from C to D. So this first part is all about being able to read the graph the correct way, and then introducing what delta, or the little triangle symbol, means. So going from 90 to 100 is changing 10 again. Alright, now question 2, what is the horizontal change? Horizontal, remember, is going from side to side. So now we're going to use our x-axis. So from A to B, it's changing horizontally. It's going from 20 to 50. So the horizontal change, so this is question 2. Now, change in x is delta x. So this symbol, whenever you see it, means change. Alright? Delta x, or change in x, is 30 feet for A to B. For B to C, from here to here, is also changing 30. And then from C to D is also changing 30 feet. Forgot my label here. Okay, so now, question 3. Find the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change for each section of the ski lift. Okay, so question 3, let me go to a different color here. Question 3 is finding the ratio of V, vertical over horizontal, or the change in Y over the change in H. So this one, it's going to be 10 over 30, which is equal to 1/3. The next one is 40 over 30, so that's going to be 1 1/3, or just 4/3, you could leave it as. And then the last one is also going to be 1/3. Alright, which section is the steepest? How does the ratio for that section compare to the ratios for the other sections? B to C is the steepest, and if you look, this number, 1 1/3, is greater than these two numbers. Now, what does that all mean? Well, we're going to be talking about something known as slope, or the rate of change, and you're going to need to recognize what it will look like depending on what the number is. Alright, so, in this case, it's steeper because the number is greater. So, the rate of change, we got a little definition here. Rate of change allows you to see the relationship between two quantities that are changing. If one quantity depends on the other, then the following is true. Rate of change is equal to the change in the dependent variable over the change in the independent variable. Another way to think of this is change in y over change in x. Delta y over delta x. Okay? You're going to be seeing this a lot in this unit, in this topic. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at page 2. Next page here. Okay, graphs, tables, and slope. So we have a graph here, and they give us a table, and these obviously go together. This is different distance traveled by a car. So we have time in hours and distance in miles. The time has already been filled in for us, going up in increments of 1. And then if you notice, the distance is increasing in increments of 30. So finish filling this in. Okay, so we are going to find, since this is a linear relationship, we can find the slope, the rate of change, by doing the change in y over the change in x. So the change in y is increasing by 30 each time. And the change in x is increasing by 1 each time. So change in y over change in x is going to give you 30 miles per 1 hour. There is our rate. So what is this basically saying? In 1 hour, the car traveled 30 miles. In 1 hour, the car traveled 30 miles. This is also known as a unit rate. And we talked about that a little bit in math class, the unit rate. We could have gotten this from the graph by looking at where the independent variable is 1. The dependent variable is 30. So there's a few ways you can get your rate of change. So we're finding the rate of change from the table, from the graph, or even from doing some other math. So, but for now, let's focus on the tables and graphs. Alright, so, next one, money owed to parents. Now you'll notice that this one is, the line is slanting in a different, or leaning in a different way. So at 0 weeks, you owe, or somebody owes their parents $200. Now, why is this line look like it's decreasing or going down? Well, because as you pay back, or as whoever this is pays back their parents the money, the amount of money, you'll notice that it is the amount that they owe is decreasing every time. So 80, 40, eventually we'll get to 0. Now there's an arrow at the end of this because it will continue to go, but once it hits the x-axis, once it gets to 0 here, it should not continue. You're not going to keep paying your parents once you've paid them all the money. So what is happening in the table? Well, as this is increasing by 2, so our change in x is increasing by 2. Y is doing what? Well, it's decreasing. By how much? Change in y is going down by minus 40 every time. So negative 40 over 2. So what is negative 40 over 2? Simplify to negative 20 over 1. Negative $20 per, and the time is being measured in weeks. So what is the rate for this graph and this table and this situation is the amount of money is decreasing $20 per week. Okay? Each week they owe $20 less. Or they pay $20 each week. Alright? Now, here's what I want you to do. The last situation we have is the graph about the DJ. And you'll see that it is a linear graph. There are some points on here. I want you to finish filling in the table on your own. I want you to find the change in y over the change in x. In other words, you're going to find the rate and tell me what it means. If a couple of students do this and share their answers in class, then I'll probably feel generous enough to offer you a few points on your scoreboard. If you have any questions about this lesson, please make sure you come and see me or another adult or a friend and get some help so that you understand it. Good luck, and we'll see you in math.